A little while back, my good friend Billy Barberson made a video talking about the characters he vibes with in fighting games, and it's a really solid video. I recently watched it again, and while doing so, I started thinking about who I would put on a list like this. Then I decided, why don't I make a video that's basically a follow-up of his? But you see, I've been playing fighting games seriously for the better part of a decade now, so I have a lot of different characters that I love, and what better thing to do than to gush about them for a little bit. But now that that explanation's out the way, vibe with me for a bit. When I first picked up Guilty Gear Strive, I had a bit of a character crisis. At first I picked up Faust, but I didn't really like how he was played. Giovanna was the type of character I usually play, but I didn't really like her moves all that much. I also picked up Billy's main, but that just wasn't working for me. Also, if you don't know who that is, then you should really check out his video. But after a while, one character really spoke out to me. Elphaba Valentine is a character who got me out of my character crisis. Her constant joy and the character of not understanding how the process of love works is super funny to me. Plus, she's a singer of a fictional heavy metal band, Spethos Fanaticus. I tried way too much to pronounce that, which is pretty radical. But enough about that. Let's talk gameplay. Elphaba is a very strong, easy to use rushdown character who also has access to holding projectiles. She used to be very low tier, which was completely fine with me because she was still so fun to play. But she ended up getting buffed so hard that people now hate her fucking god. One of her best buffs she got was given to her super Bomb. Yeah, I don't care if I'm not pronouncing that right, I don't speak French. Which used to be a command grab finisher, which was so slow it was actually super easy to react to, so nobody really used it. Except for me, I used it a lot because I had a really good setup with it. But they changed it to a strike super, so now everybody is scared of being exploded by the Bomb Queen. The move was now so strong that I put it in the I might be dead finishers that also include Slayer, Dizzy, Abba, and of course, Temkin's Heavily Protected Buster. Actually, speaking of one of those characters, I picked up Abba not too long ago and discovered that she is low-key super fucking fun. I don't know too much of her story or much of Guilty Gear, so I'm really being honest. But I do know that this girl is nuts. Abba is a yandere type character who loves her husband key thingy Paracelsus, which is alright by me because Paracelsus is a pretty good weapon, so you know what? Very valid of you, Abba. Now Abba's gameplay is very interesting. She's considered a stance character and has two different states that she can be in. Her first one is just a regular state, where she's honestly the worst character in the game, being so slow that she can barely do anything. You have to rely on a lot of your resources just to get in, and because of that, you also have to play it very cautiously. But when you hit people enough with Paracelsus, you build up her Jealous Rage meter, and using either of her activation moves allows her to enter Jealous Rage. Jealous Rage makes her move become way stronger, and gives her access to some of, if not the highest damaging combos in the entire game. And not just that, she also becomes one of the fastest characters in the game. So fast that it's fucking terrifying. She has a move called Judgment and Sentiment, and this move has full invincibility, even against supers. And she also has what I do believe to be the highest damaging 1-bar super in the entire game. Yeah, this character is nuts. Anyway, what next character? Killer Instinct was really the first fighting game I tried getting good at, learning the mechanics and the different variety of characters and their archetypes. A lot of characters were really fun to play as well, like Jago, Spinal, and Fulgore. But when I started playing, the character that really stood out to me was Hisako. Hisako is a vengeful Japanese spirit known as an Onryo. I go into great detail about Onryo in this video here, but moving on, she is so cool. She's obviously heavily inspired by Sadako and Kayako from the Ring and the Grudge franchise respectively, and they really went in on the horror elements of this character. Her theme music for most of the time sounds like a Mick Gordon song, well, because it is a Mick Gordon song, with heavy rock playing through most of it. But it does a transition in the middle of the song, with a bunch of children chanting, while a woman is audibly crying in the background, and it's very fucking creepy. But even then, the horror elements also reflect heavily in her gameplay. She has a very slow walk cycle, but she crawls on the ground super fast when she's dashing. She has a move where she just straight up possesses you and breaks all your bones. She even does this in her ultimate. But even her model itself is so spooky looking so ecto and glitch-like, really bringing out the elements that make a ghost creepy. It's a shame that Microsoft doesn't do a lot with Killer Instinct anymore because it had such a great and diverse cast like Hisako that I feel they can expand on even more. But yeah, I love Hisako, and if you haven't played Killer Instinct, I suggest you give it a try. So I'm actually recording this after I already started editing my video. So there's like no script, but there's two more things I want to mention about Hisako. The first thing is her stage, Village of Whispers. Now, this really plays into her character as well, considering the fact that this is her burial ground that has been tarnished by the in-game evil company, which I am blanking on the name right now, but it's probably something super obvious. This stage is so creepy as it itself that it's just so sick.
Stage Ultra! Buried.
And the other thing I want to mention quickly is her other version in the game, the alternate version, Shin Hisako, which is, according to her story, which I read like years ago, but I'm pretty sure I remember, is when she actually finally took up her father's sword from the original story where she couldn't do it because her father wouldn't allow her. And that's why she uses a Nagata instead of her sword. So when she finally gets it, she becomes Shin Hisako. And Shin in Japanese has a few meanings, but in this case, it translates to true Hisako. You probably heard Shin before in Shin Gojira, but this is basically what it means. Anyway, the next character. I have played Mortal Kombat for a long ass time. It was actually the first game series I have memories of playing of when I first played the Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 back in 2003 and 2004 when I was 3 or 4. And I love the series, even though they have been pissing me off recently. Now, even though the game series feels like it's getting worse and worse throughout the years, there are always aspects of these games that I love. Now, for characters, I would have put a character like Leatherface in MKX, or my GOAT, Scorpion, or even Takeda. But over the years, I feel like I always gravitated towards Johnny Cage as my favorite character. Before, I just loved Johnny Cage because of how realistic he seemed, because he's just a cocky movie star. And even when he transitioned to a family man, I just loved him. But in the new game, when almost every character got an upgrade, Johnny Cage was literally my favorite. They got rid of his green powers from before, which seemed like a terrible idea, but they still kept elements which made him a very swaggy character. And they added a new move, which is actually really cool, and that is his hype meter. You can do special taunts to build up the hype meter, with a crowd hyping you up in the background, before finally you activate it, and he becomes even swaggier. He gets the ability to cancel specials into specials, and this unlocks more combo opportunities, all while under a spotlight, and it's just so fucking cool. There are other cool aspects to his character as well, like his fourth wall breaking fatal blow, where he grabs the camera and smashes your face in. Or even his animality, which is a Jaws reference, which is fucking awesome. Although I do have a lot of negative feelings towards Mortal Kombat, unfortunately, Johnny Cage will always be one of the shining stars of the game for me, because no matter what they do with him, he always seems to be the best character in the game. Over the past few years, I'm not sure why, but I've been drawn to a lot of characters who give up a lot of elegance. And the one character that really started to offer me was from Soul Calibur 6. I have such a love for the Soul Calibur franchise, and Soul Calibur 2 really shaped my childhood along with Mortal Kombat. And it's probably the game I have the fondest memories of, like, playing with my brothers. When I heard that Soul Calibur 6 was coming out back in 2018, it was probably the first game I actually pre-ordered for myself. And boy, was I excited to play the new iterations of my favorite characters, like Kilik, Siegfried, Maxi, Taki, Cervantes, all of them reimagined. And I was also excited to try out the new character, like Bro, and even the guest character, Gerald. But as much as I loved the game, it did have its problems with both gameplay and the network. But even then, I was excited to see what was in store for the game. When they first started shelling out the DLCs, I tried all of them, but I don't think any of them interested me more than Amy. Now, Amy was a character who never really stood out to me before, but when I actually tried her out, I became in love with both her story and her character. One thing I actually learned when she dropped is that Amy is Viola in Soul Calibur 5, but the less you think about that game, the better. Moving on to her gameplay. Amy plays similarly to Raphael, however, she has a new mechanic that makes her different. Amy has specific moves that use roses, and this builds up her rose meter, which unlocks even more moves. Because of this mechanic, I actually fell so in love with the elegance of this character. Her movement was so smooth and precise, and when you combine that with her weapon style, and she was definitely my personal favorite for Soul Calibur 6. Shame that this game doesn't get as much love as it did back in the past, but you know what? I'm giving it a lot of love here, because I love the Soul Calibur franchise, and I cannot wait if they actually announce Soul Calibur 7. And since I brought up elegance, we need to move on to Street Fighter 6. Street Fighter 6, the game that really brought Street Fighter back to the streets, with both returning characters and new characters. Now, I'm going to admit something here, that I really don't have too much experience with the Street Fighter games, and Street Fighter 6 was really the first one I played on release. I did love watching the Street Fighter 4 tournament back in 2008, but I was still too young to really get the game for myself and try it out. I knew the basics of Street Fighter, but I never really had too much interest in it because I really gravitated towards anime fighters. But even still, I was pretty excited to play this one. And at first I thought I would be a Jay player because I did play him a lot during the beta. But there is a character that really stood out to me, not because of their simplicity, but also their elegance. Bandit is actually legit the first grappler I ever made, with my preferred style being rushed out because I have a very aggressive playstyle. But Manon really changed that for me. This game actually made me play some real defense instead of going full monkey mode with this one character. But when I get my opportunities to get a grab in, oh, you already know I always take them. Now, Manon is a judo champion, but also a professional model and dancer. So every time she moves with so much swag, including in her throws. Both her special throws build up what is known as her metal level, with the highest being 5. And each time the level goes up, so does the damage of each throw. And not just that, but the animation changes every few levels that fits with the amount of damage she does, and that is the definition of elegance. And now we have come to the final character I want to talk about, and this one is special to me. Even though I don't really play him, but when I do, oh man, I have so much fun playing him. I'm not even going to do a long intro for this one, we're just going to get into it. It's King from the Tekken franchise, and there's only one reason why. I love wrestling. I've recently made a video about wrestling that got blocked by the WWE. By the way,
I'm gonna sue the WWE.
But if you could have watched it, you would know I have a passion for wrestling. And King is probably my favorite character when it comes to wrestling. Now, there are other characters who are based on wrestling and wrestlers, but the amount of references that King has compared to the others are insane. First, King himself is based on Tiger Mask, a very popular Japanese character who was based off a Japanese manga and was originally played by Satoru Sayama. But there are also other variations who were played by heavyweights in the Japanese wrestling world, like Mitsuharu Misawa and Kota Ibushi. His gameplay is a grappler, obviously, because wrestling is a grappling fighting style, but also all of his grabs are actual wrestling moves, from slams to submission holds. Even when he does some of his supers, he will hype up the crowd with his bravado, like how a lot of wrestlers do. Work the fucking hard cam! Even the murder grandpa, Minoru Suzuki, motion captured him back in Tekken 3. That's a fucking... But there's one reason why I really love King, and we have to go back to Tekken 7 to talk about that. The Tekken team actually teamed up with New Japan Pro Wrestling and had a bunch of collaborations with some wrestlers, and of course, the biggest script of the promotion at the time, Bullet Club. But King had a very special costume based on the biggest Japanese wrestling star at the time, Kazuchika Okada. Not only does he get Okada's outfit, but the rage art also changes. So instead of doing a regular body slam, he does Okada's wide shot pose with money falling and hits the motherfucking Rainmaker! Yeah, I love King. Anyway, those are the characters I really vibe with. What are some of your favorite characters? And tell me why you fuck with them. Also, remember to check out my boy Billy's videos if you haven't, and make sure you subscribe to him and tell him I sent you there. Thanks for watching.